Can you feel it? The magic is in the air. It's the Magic City Classic. It'll be a little light in the stands, a little light with fans and bands and concerts. But BJ Jones joining us now. BJ, I don't remember the last time there was this much at stake outside of just bragging rights for a Magic City Classic. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, both teams want to be the team coming out of the East vying for a championship, and whoever wins on Saturday, they're going to kick the other team out there. So there's a lot at stake here on Saturday.
Oh man, a lot, man. Almost feels like classics of old. From 2000 to 2006, five of those six classics determined the division winner in the Eastern Division of the conference. So it's almost like we're back to those days. In the Magic City Classic, nothing can be on the line, and it's still a huge deal between Alabama State and Alabama A&M. It's a big deal for schools, big deal for the city of Birmingham. So to have that game played, number one, and to have so much on the line with these two young quarterbacks, oh man, you can't ask for anything better if you're a fan of Alabama State or Alabama A&M or just a football fan in the city of Birmingham.
So Alabama State rebounded from their loss against South Carolina State. They held off Mississippi Valley State, who, look, that was a close game. If you just looked at the box score and you weren't there, you're like, Mississippi Valley State got blown out. That was anybody's game in the fourth quarter. Alabama A&M on fire. They hadn't played in a month, and they went down to Jackson State and scored over 50 points. Were you surprised at how well-oiled, at least on offense, Alabama A&M was despite not playing in so long?
Yeah, and even they did show a little bit of rust. But, you know, that offense with Akil Glass and those receivers, Zay Moore, Ibrahim, Jenkins, Johnson, and they are loaded. And when they get a rhythm going, they're almost impossible to stop, especially when you get no pass rush. And Jackson State couldn't buy a pass rush last week, and that is bad news when number 4 back there pulling the trigger.
Well, for Alabama State, Bubba and the boys, they're pretty stout up front. They like to pin their ears back and go get the quarterback. Is that going to be like the key battle that you're going to watch on Saturday down in the trenches? Alabama State's ability to rush the ball and how Alabama A&M will handle that.
Yes, I want to look at the Alabama State offensive line. Those young guys, they really come together. Can they control that offensive line to give Ryan Nettles enough time to throw the ball and also establishing the run? Look, Alabama A&M, with everything they are on offense, they're not on defense. They're not stout against the run. They're not particularly good in the pass. They're not good tackling in space. The defense is that bad, okay? So Alabama State has to take advantage of that, but I'm also looking when Alabama A&M has the football. Can that offensive line protect Akil Glass, and can Alabama State get to Akil Glass with 4 or 5? Because if you send more, now we're leaving guys out on the island, and with Zay Moore and those guys on the outside, that's not a battle you're going to win too many times.
Well, that's what Coach Boehner kind of playfully said in this week's press conference talking to Coach Ely. He said, rush if you want to. You're going to leave your DBs out there on the island, and we're going to eat them up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it's going to be critical for Alabama State to get them with a 4-man or 5-man rush. Anything over that, you run a big risk.
Wow, it's going to be something to see. Coach Boehner, he said something interesting this week. In the direction of Deion Sanders. I guess it was on his coach's show. I viewed it as him extending an olive branch, saying to Coach Sanders, come on, be one of the boys. Let's go back and forth a little bit here. And Coach Sanders just kind of shot it down and said, I'm not going there. How did you view Coach Boehner's, in knowing who he is, what he had to say after the Jackson State game?
I've been watching Coach Boehner since he's at Winston-Salem State. That's Cornell Boehner. That's what he's going to give you. If you remember Steve Spurrier when he was in the SEC and the quotes that he would have at SEC Media Days, that's Cornell Boehner. And I just looked at it as nothing more as being that. He's a confident head coach. He's not afraid to let you know it. And that's what I like about him. And I thought it was really cool, for him to say that, man. We need that excitement the league. So I didn't take anything back. I was actually giggled a little bit when I heard it.
Yeah, yeah, and him and Coach Hill Ely, they do it exactly how it should be done. When you hear it, you laugh. They give you things that you want to look for. Hey, are the DBs going to be able to handle the wide receivers? But at the end of the day, even when they're saying it, man, that it's all tongue in cheek. There's a little bit of seriousness thrown in there, obviously, but they're friends, and it's just friendly fuel on the fire.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to a radio interview they did on Birmingham local radio. They actually did it together, and the guy who was hosting the show was like, "I should just let you guys just go in for 15 minutes," because they were back and forth, and that speaks to the they have two guys who are very good friends, and I love listening to those two really go back and forth. But with Deion Sanders, man, you got to have some thick skin. I mean, if you come into the conference, you say you're going to go whatever and and you say some of the things that you said, you're putting that target on you, and people are going to have some things to say back. People not just going to keep their mouths closed. If you get beat here in the SWAC, they're going to narrate it to you. Like, it's a reason I keep saying it. It is rough in the SWAC, and it's not just a saying. That's the way that it really is.
Yeah, and it's a tough situation for Sanders, I think. He just has to be very deliberate because, the national media is going to pick up anything that he says, and they're not going to pay attention to what, Connell Maynor said. And that's no slight against Connell Maynor, but Deion Sanders is a transcendent sports figure. He's a Hall of Famer. And, people like me and you and other SWAC fans know if these guys start going back and forth, it's nothing serious. But, they can really, I don't want to say damage, but, he has a brand that he has to look out for. He's an ambassador. He's got all these things going on. And I'm sure he doesn't want to pick up the paper, or not that people read the paper anymore, good Lord. But you know what I'm saying. It's just an analogy. And read, Deion Sanders sparring with an FCS coach, because that's how it's going to play out on Yahoo and Sports Illustrated and all these other places.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take a bar clip, they're going to cut it down, they're going to put a headline out there that's going to be misleading, and that's what's going to lead the way. So I don't blame Deion Sanders for being cautious at all.
Yeah, but hopefully we can get to that point, man, where everybody gets it, because I think that'll be really great when he can kind of, talk that talk and everybody can kind of go back and forth. Although it should be noted, BJ, for old school people like me and you, he really wasn't a trash talker as a player. He was a promoter, but on the field, he didn't go back and forth with guys.
No, he wasn't really a trash talker. The only person that he really talked to a lot was Andre Rison. That first trip back to Atlanta when he was with San Francisco. But other than that, man, he's just flashy. And he influenced the way that I played the game because, I was a kid back then. So, I had the headband around the neck. I had the bandana. I wore the number 2. So, yeah, he influenced a lot of us. So happy to have him in the league, but no, not really a big trash talk. Flashy guy, not really a big trash talk.
Hey, when I go old man jogging, I still wear my bandana, man. So, I'm kind of in there too, BJ. It's my Bandana Bob persona. That's what I call it, Bandana Bob. All right, well, look, we got all over the place there, but we're talking about the Magic City Classic. It's this weekend. We'll have highlights, hopefully. BJ, I get my second shot on Friday, so fingers crossed. I won't be down for the count on Saturday, but if I'm up and running and good to go, I'll be there, and we'll have the highlights for you right here at HBCU Game Day. He is BJ Jones. I'm Tali Carr. We're both in Atlanta. We'll see you guys later.